Hello, my name is Rick Cook. I'm your professor for English 122. Please call me Rick. I go by Rick. If you feel uncomfortable with first name basis, professor's fine. Please don't call me Mr. Cook. That takes me back to my 10 years as a principal. And while I enjoyed it at the time, I'd rather forget about those 10 years because I really like being a professor. This welcome video is intended to introduce you to the course and make sure you know how to move throughout D2L and also Google Classroom because we use both. I'll roughly follow this letter. You found this letter because you already got into D2L and you already found the daily sheet, but I will go over that as well. A little about myself. So this is my 20th year in teaching at LCC. I'm really excited about that. It's my 25th year in education. Lots of changes over that time, particularly in the last 5 years. Before the pandemic, I never taught online classes, and since I've done it endlessly. My goal with this welcome video is to make sure that this is the right class at the right time in your life with the right professor. Um, all of those things have to align to be successful. And every year I have a couple students where that's not the case. And the sooner you know that, the better. Making sure that this is the right course for you, that you have time in your life and energy in your life to do it, and the motivation to do it. And that I'm the right professor. I'm a good professor for a whole lot of people, but I am not for everybody. And it's a good idea to find that out at the beginning. So, in particular, taking this class in a virtual format in the summer is tough. First, it's a ton of work. So um, it's all the work of the normal 122 class that takes 16 weeks to do, but instead we're going to do it in 8. So there's a formula for that. You are supposed to expect about 2 hours of work for every hour of class. Well, we're technically in 8 hours of class because it's a 4-credit class, twice as fast. And if we're working for 8 hours a week, that means 16 to 24 hours in addition. So I'm struggling to start doing the math with that. I mean, that means 24 to 32 hours a week for this class, according to the college guidance. That's a ton. You should expect a minimum of 10 to 16 if you want a 3-point, and more than that to get into the 4-point range, and even more than that at the end of the class. It's a ton of time. So make sure you're ready for that. There's just no way around it. The class is online, but it requires weekly interaction. So despite the fact that it's online, writers still learn in a process of interaction with other writers. And that's how I teach the class. If you're not interested in that kind of interaction, don't take this section. Try to take a section where you can just kind of be a lone wolf all on your own. You have to teach yourself the content because a lot of it's from reading and we don't have a lot of interaction, which makes it extremely challenging. But you also learn a lot about argumentation from interacting with your audience, which is your classmates. In 121, you should have had a lot of interaction with each other. In 122, and my 122 section is not literature based. I think that's very important to point out early on. You can take 122 sections that are literature based. Mine is nonfiction argumentation based. So, what are the topics people are arguing about? Politics, health, work, leisure, education. All realms of human life fall under the scope of argumentation, and we focus on what are those nonfiction arguments rather than analysis of literature, which there are some sections that do that, and you can seek that out if you'd like. You got to be on the discussion boards a lot. You're going to be posting your work a lot, and you should plan on checking D2L at least every other day. I mean, good students are checking it every day and working every day. The quality of work needed to pass this class is really high. Usually students do not start out, and in fact, I should say 95% of students do not start out writing 4.0 essays. If you did, you wouldn't have to pay all the money and do all this energy to take the class. You're learning a skill that you do not have yet. That's the whole point. I expect that there's a certain level of skills that transfer for 121. You got to be able to use MLA. You got to be able to conduct college level research. You should be able to write clear and concise sentences. And you got to be able to think about complex topics. You should not have left 2021 without that. And if you did, the class did you a real disservice. I've tried to summarize this here for you. Do you have enough time? Are you ready to read and write in very significant amounts? Do you have the necessary technical skills? You got to use D2L. You got to use Google Classroom. You got to use Google Docs. You got to have internet access. Do you want? It's an online class. Do you want to pursue the development of your skills individually? Like, do you like that? And then can you really commit to lots of weekly interaction and feedback? That's if you don't feel like those bullet points are things you can commit to, I'm telling you that up front so you can pick a different section or wait to develop a different or wait to take class at a different time. So what is this class and how is it structured? So it's a writing class. Everything I do in the class is intended to help you with that essay. We write 3 arguments in the class. We write a position argument, we write a proposal argument, and then the last one, which is bigger and uses specialized sources, you get to pick. Do you want it to be a position? Do you want it to be a proposal? It's the same assignment every time. You're writing the strongest argument you can, and you're using all of the standards and expectations of academic argumentation in the college world. I expect that in 121 you did real writing, and real writing is when we have something we want other people to know and understand from our perspective that others don't already share. And we're writing to them because we're compelled to have them see our perspective. I am not a believer in prisoner writing. If you're writing because you're forced like a prisoner to write, I'm not interested. I'm not the professor for you. I don't deal well with it. I'll just be honest. I don't deal well with it. I'm a writer. I need 0 education classes to teach this class. I'm a writer that teaches writing. You go take chemistry, it's from a chemist who took 0 education classes. You go take history, it's from a historian. Content experts that you are choosing to be around because you want to develop the skills. That's how I approach the class. And if that's not your approach, I'm not your guy. I'm a great professor for people who want to learn like that. And I'm a pretty good motivator because the class is a struggle. Even if you want to learn, you need to be motivated. You need to have someone shining a light, and I can be that guy. But I am not here for people who are prisoners. You are here because it's a choice. It's not mandatory. I've never seen good writing done for an assignment. It's done because a writer wants other people to know what he or she knows and feels and believes. And they want that belief to be respected. Even if it's not shared, particularly in the argumentative world, if it's at least respected. That's the compelling why for a real writer. And I'm interested in real writers. I have a system for this, for developing strong writers, and it's to work like a real writer. We collaborate a lot. We have lots of response, lots of active reading, lots of revision. As long as you submit work by deadlines, you can revise as many times as you want. So a lot of people say I'm a tough grader because early on they get low grades, but you can revise as much as you want. I don't give you feedback as many times as you want, but you can keep revising it, and no grade is set in stone until the end of the class, as long as you've hit the deadlines along the way. If you've hit the deadlines along the way, you can revise as many times as you want. The class is about the skills you have at the end. It's about how far you can take a project after 8 weeks of work, not what you wrote the night before. So I really honor revision and expect it. Another thing about me in my section, maybe I'm not the best one. Maybe I'm not the one for you. How is the class broken down? Well, 15% is reading quizzes and 15% is assignments involving peer interaction. You must do these to earn the points. Okay, you can't do some of it and get some of the points. You got to do all of it to get the points. 60% of the class is the essays. Essay 1 is 10, essay 2 is 10, and essay 3 is 40. So really emphasizes the essays, and particularly the last one, where you've practiced a lot of these skills and now you're just going to do your absolute best with one when you don't have a lot of reading and you don't have a lot of peer response. You're just working on your own essay. Very importantly, I will not accept any essay that hasn't gone through the writing process. That means we've seen your claim, we've seen outlines, we've seen drafts. We are not interested in AI stuff. And it simply won't work. I mean, real writing is about sharing what you know, not what a artificial intelligence can do. I think artificial intelligence is extremely useful, and there's ways that really can empower the writing process. But that's not the skill this class is teaching you to use. It's AI is great for completing assignments. It's not great for the writing process in authentic writing. Not yet. 10% of the class is a reflection that's due at the end of the class. I have a little bit in here about how to be successful. This is not just about writing, but also about a college mindset. And I have a little bit in here about me that you should read. I'm really excited about the class. I go above and beyond for students. My effort will really match yours. If you are doing everything you could possibly do, I'm going to do everything I could possibly do to help you be successful. If you're doing the bare minimum, so am I. That's absolutely how it works. I am always available, and I am never upset when a student contacts me. Students don't contact me enough. I'm going to share my cell phone. I want communication, and I'll say this many times in this video, I want communication through the Gmail. D2L is a poor communicative device, so please email me. But I give my cell phone out because when you're working, I know that sending a text is a great way for you to quickly get help and send it. I don't care what time it is. When I go to bed, I put my phone on silent, so you're not going to wake me up. A lot of times I go to bed early, and I'll respond to you when I get up. But sometimes I'm up, so you're paying for that access to me, particularly in an online environment, and you should take advantage of it. So I know you're the TikTok generation. Well, if you're a young person, and this video is way longer than a TikTok, but you should also read the letter because it's really useful. Okay, so orientation for the class. If you go to D2L, this is what our D2L looks like. I'll always use announcements for kind of like weekly, where are we and where are we going? This has my contact information in it right there. I prefer texts, but also that email works. I don't respond quickly to emails in D2L. I really don't like D2L, so don't expect that. The content section, so I always have my class materials and discussions. Class materials will have things that I think are valuable for everybody. They'll be put in here. The only thing in there right now is the daily sheet. And also in the content section is the discussions. So in D2L is where you get the content and where you get discussions, where you interact with each other. Okay, we're going to use Google Classroom, and I'll show you that. I'll show you right now. So here's the Google Classroom, and I'll show you how to get to this. The Google Classroom is where you submit work to me. So D2L, working with each other. Google Classroom, to me. I want Google Docs in Google Classroom because the collaboration abilities, the collaboration tools in Google Docs are amazing for writers. And every writer I know uses Google Docs because of that, because of the ability to share and do suggestions and links and comments and all of those functions. It really makes it much, much, much more effective than Word. So Google Docs. If you submit a Word document in Google Classroom, I can't put comments on it. So you have to put a Google Doc in here. You got to know how to use Google Docs. Make sure when you sign up for Google Classroom or are submitting a Google Doc or writing a Google Doc that you're using your LCC Google account. You have an LCC Google account. Make sure you know how to get in it. You know you're in it when it says @mail.lcc.edu up here. Sometimes on a personal computer, it will default to your home account. Here's my home account. I went to the University of Michigan. Go Blue. There's my home account. There's my Ingham ISD account. You can switch in between them. Here's my LCC account. So make sure you are in your LCC account. Under classwork, you'll find all the big things you give me. You give me a final draft of Essay 1, a final draft of Essay 2. You give me a working claim for Essay 3. You'll learn what that is. And you give me a letter of reflection. And then you give me the final drafts of all essays. Okay, those all be submitted here. It's got the due dates along the side. Comments and grades will be in here. You will also have grades for your whole class in D2L. Okay, you'll be able to find that in D2L. In D2L, here's the discussions. So the discussions 1, 2, 3, and 4. Click on that. Here's discussion 1, 2, 3, and 4 will appear as the class progresses. We move through the class together. The daily sheet that you can click on looks like this. I've moved all my curriculum to a single Google Doc with links. So besides the readings in the textbook, here is where you can find everything you need to read or watch. Okay, so stuff I've written or links to things I want you to read, and videos that I've made. So the welcome letter, which I was just looking at, the welcome video after it's made will be linked right here. The syllabus. Here's a student survey I'd like you to do. Here's how you join Google Classroom. Make sure you're using an LCC account. And here's the first assignment. And then I've listed out every day. I think this is useful, particularly in a fast summer class. And then when there's an assignment that's got grades, the points are listed over here. These points add up to 100. So you can think about these as a percentage, right? So discussion 1 is 3% of your grade. Discussion 1 is due by 11:59 p.m. You can find this post in D2L under discussions 1, 2, 3, 4. So discussions are in D2L. Everything else is in the sheet. So here's quiz 1. You can look at quiz 1 before you do the reading. It's due. The quiz 1 is due at 11:59 on Wednesday, June 12th, and it's over these chapters. And here's the rubric. So what the quiz is, what the readings are, and here it is. It's not timed. You can have it open as you're reading. That's totally fine with me. In fact, that's expected that you'll have the quiz open as you're reading, or you'll have looked at the quiz before you read, so you know what you're reading for. The quiz guides your reading. You're learning a lot from what you read. And of course, that's an essential college skill. Unfortunately, high schools have moved away from that. I know many high schoolers that don't read at all to learn. That's a huge problem. But as 122 students, you should have moved beyond that. And then all the important things are laid out in the class. They're not live links yet because we moved through it together, but there they all are. And they will become live usually like 10 to 12 days before you get there, before you get to it. So we're live all the way through the first discussion and first quiz. There's tons of work to do in there. I mean, there's 5 chapters to read by the 12th. You certainly aren't going to be worried about stuff later on. So that's the daily sheet. You can actually bookmark this. As long as you're logged into your LCC account, you can bookmark this, and so you can go directly to this instead of having to go into D2L and then go into content and then go into another thing. You can go directly to it. I really like that aspect of it, and it's a live document. So the best way to contact me, I want to kind of end there, is most definitely with my cell phone and by email. Those are the most important things. I'll be posting my office hours shortly. I'm tweaking my schedule a little bit. I want to make sure I get that right and accurate before I put it in here. But not only do I post at office hours, but I'm super available in the summer. My day job is to teach Ferris State University classes, first year and second year comp at the Wilson Talent Center. The Wilson Talent Center is the Career and Technical Education Center in Ingham County, and they hire me to teach college classes to advanced juniors and seniors, and it's a wonderful job. It's I absolutely love it, and it also gives me the summers off. So the only students I have right now are my LCC students. I'm teaching one section of Comp 1 and one section of Comp 2 of English 122. So I'm really looking forward to the summer. I'm also a student myself this summer. I have to take classes periodically, even though I'm in my 25th year of education. I still have to keep taking classes, and I'm taking a creative writing class and a humanities course. So I will be a student right along with you in this fast and intense summer semester. I'm looking forward to the class. It is a useful class. It's a class that touches on the heart of academia because it's about argumentation and how we discover truth, how we know what we know. It's very interesting to do this class in the middle of the election and during that process. Oh, and that made me think of something. One thing I do want to highlight is when we interact with each other in an argumentative class, it's naturally going to be argumentative. However, we're going to practice what that means in academia. And number one, that's respectful. I am a person that fiercely defends freedom of speech and freedom of ideas. You will not know my political leanings, and that's the way it should be. Um, you should feel very comfortable to share yours. The only thing you should not be comfortable doing is being denigrating to other people. Um, the purpose of this class is to learn how academics find truth, and they do that respectfully. They're engaged, they're present, and they listen. And that's what I expect in our interactions, whether they be live or online on the discussion boards. And I will certainly be monitoring that and helping you do that. Please ask questions. This welcome video couldn't possibly cover everything that's important or unclear. I expect you to ask questions because you paid for the class and you paid for me to answer your questions. So there are no stupid questions, only people that should have asked and didn't. I look forward to the class, and let's get started.